Hey, podcast listeners. This is Let's Get Meta, episode 89, all about how to mitigate your karma. In other words, how to pay down your negative karmic debt and how to put positive dividends in your cosmic bank for your future. Listen into this episode and check out the awesome bonus content at the end. Enjoy.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical Podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci, here to remind you that you are a divine spiritual light being having a temporary human experience here on lovely planet Earth. Enjoy it. This is episode 89, all about how you can mitigate your karma. How to mitigate your karma. And if you have not listened to the previous episode, How Karma Works, I highly recommend that you listen to that first because it won't make much sense potentially on how to mitigate your karma if you do not know what karma is. On that same line of thought, if you have not listened to episode 87, Past Lives Matter, yet, you might want to listen to that one first because Past Lives Matter is all about reincarnation, and you really are going to want to understand reincarnation in order to be able to fully understand karma, if we can even fully understand karma, because it's unfathomable. And once you have listened to those two episodes, please come on back and listen to this one, all about how you can mitigate your karma. I also want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about John Douglas's Fall 2021 Fall Tour that is happening right now. It is the Light of Life Tour. It is a remote healing tour. We are about 2 weeks in out of the 6 weekends that these remote events take place. All of them are extremely powerful so far. I think that these tours just keep growing and growing more and more powerful as we have the faith to listen in and gain the blessings in the comfort of our own home. Some of us in our Christmas onesies, some of us not. But if you're interested in taking part in this tour, and if you're at all serious about rapid spiritual evolution, your own rapid spiritual evolution, if you are open to the ideas that there are angels, and maybe a group of angels called master angels that are here helping us, especially when we ask for help, if you're open to the idea that most everything befalling you can be healed, can be addressed, and that Western science hasn't figured everything out yet, but that there is an answer. If you're open to the idea of something greater than yourself, if you are ready to move forward in your spiritual evolution, this tour might be for you. It might just change your life. One event on this tour might change your life. This is the Light of Life Tour with John Douglas, and it's taking place right now. The last event will be on December, let's see, for me it'll be 20th, and for you it'll be, I think, December 17th, around there, 2021. So if you're hearing this and this is piquing your interest, go to masterangels.org or globalcma.org and click on tour. And you can take a look at what's going on there. You can buy one event, which includes a silent faith remote healing. In fact, a silent faith remote healing, which I've talked about before on this podcast, by itself is usually the price that it is to get both a Silent Faith remote healing and an event for this tour. So it's a really good deal. You can fill out your SFR for whatever might be plaguing you right now, whatever you need help with, whether it be a physical, mental, emotional health issue, a relationship issue. Maybe you want help landing a job that you're interviewing for or selling your house. These SFRs can really help with anything. So for the price of one SFR, you can also get that and an event if you want to go for one event on this tour. If you are interested and like, oh my gosh, why haven't you mentioned this before? I'm so sorry. I have been super busy helping with this tour and failed to mention this in my last episode that this was coming. So if you want to join in for more of the tour or all of the tour events that you are currently able to participate in, please feel free to buy a silver pass, what's known as a silver pass. It will get you into all of the B events. That's all the events that you can go to without having taken the advanced knowledge, the advanced spiritual knowledge course. You can go to all the B events, of which there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 left by the time this episode is published. And then you will have the access to go back and listen to the recordings of all of the B events of this tour, and you will receive the blessings of all of those events. And I just want to say that they have been incredible so far. Absolutely incredible. The angels have personally knocked me out for 2 of the events already. And when that happens, that just means you're sitting there, you're watching, you're fully awake, you're not even a hint tired, and then John Douglas comes in and starts doing his blessings. He works with these angels, he works with the master angels, they perform the blessings, and completely fall asleep, out cold. And then the event ends, and I wake up and feel amazing and know that something has happened, because otherwise I would not have been out cold while these blessings were going on. So this is divine, advanced spiritual technology, what takes place on these tours. Take it or leave it. I don't talk about this stuff unless it works for me. I have tried a lot of different things. This is my path, and it might be something that interests you. So go check it out if you are at all interested in joining the Light of Life tour with John Douglas. I think those are all my announcements right now. I am recording this episode on the full moon lunar eclipse. It is a very powerful day. It feels like a change in the wind. It feels like a turning point, and we've had lots of turning points, haven't we? It's not like there's just one, but there's some really great energy right now in this day, and I thought I would take advantage of that. And that said, I did my full moon clearing that I do every month for my online community, those who are supporters of this podcast and the other productions that I'm a part of. My full moon clearings this morning's was really powerful, and it was so powerful. I knew something was going to go down, because right before I started that recording, I open it up to everyone who is part of that community, even the tier that has access to the bonus content there. Any tier will get you access to this most recent full moon clearing that I did today. It was very powerful. It was about healing your wounds, but what came through about halfway through is that a better name for it would have been, the wound is where the light enters. So that was a really powerful healing. If you want to participate in that, even rewatching it, watching the replay, you will get the full benefits of that. You can find that at patreon.com/letsgetmeta. And that particular clearing, as I said, will be available to any tier that you choose, which is usually not the case, but I wanted to share this one. So take a look at that. And with that, I'm going to go right into my invocation, and we will start this episode on how to mitigate your karma. Masters and angels, I request your presence assistance, guidance, clarity, support for this episode and all episodes. Please help me to be a clear and perfect channel for your word, your guidance, your wisdom. Please allow me to speak the truth, know the truth, become the truth, and be the truth. And please allow this episode to reach whoever needs to hear it. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. Bless creation. So I'll jump right in, how to mitigate your karma. And we, again, talked about how karma works in the last episode, which is, it's an unfathomable concept. And I probably used the word unfathomable 4 or 5 times in the last episode. And it really is. I have been dreaming up ways to be able to visually show the complexities of karma in some kind of videography or TV show or movie, and perhaps that will come through at some time. But it would require something quite extraordinary to be able to fully understand these intricacies, these complexities of how karma works. Now, having listened to that, or maybe you already know all about karma, it's a part of your life, you think about it. A next question that becomes most obvious is, what can I do about my own karma? We're all here, we're all in these physical bodies. And if we have incarnated into a body on this planet, there is a very extremely good chance that you have karma to pay off. Otherwise, why might you not be on some other planet out of physical body and in a more, let's say, positive atmosphere, a positive climate? More times than not, we are here on this planet because we definitely have some karma to pay off. And some might even go down the direction of saying that we might be stuck here and keep reincarnating here because this is a planet where we come to pay off our karma and our karmic debts, to balance the cosmic bank account, so to speak. And how do we do that? It's really not that complicated. You can think of this as a regular old cosmic bank, a balance sheet, if you will. You do good things, you do positive things, you say positive things, think positive things, and that goes in your cosmic bank account. And it pays down any of your karmic debt that was caused by any negative things, any negative actions, negative thoughts performed in this lifetime, this very lifetime, or previous lifetimes. We all have a cosmic ledger, so to speak. And how do you know what your karma is like right now? Well, take a look at your life. Take a look at your day-to-day. Take a look at your overall big picture view of your life. What is going on in your life right now, and how has your life been up to this point? It's normal for all of us to have ups and downs and ebbs and flows and everything and all the things that we do. But you can also look at that as something to kind of gauge where you're at karmically, potentially. You might have had a really tough childhood, for example. You might have had lots of things befall you. It might have been really, really difficult. But for the last 10 years or so, you've been flying high. You have things happen every now and then, but it's been pretty smooth. Maybe that childhood helped you to pay off a huge debt of negative karma that was due to you, that was your responsibility to pay off. And the powers that be, your council, your high self, your soul, your angels, everyone decided that that was a good way. Having that rough childhood was a good way for you to pay off some of the negative karma and the karmic debt that you had incurred, perhaps by, who knows, doing similar things, whatever befell you in your early childhood that was difficult. Maybe you had a hand in making somebody else's childhood really rough in a different lifetime, okay? That's a really That's a really simplistic way of looking at it because, as I said, karma is just incomprehensible. And, that's also not to say that if everything's going well now, you might not, have something come up tomorrow out of nowhere, out of seemingly nowhere. But that's what happens when it's our time to pay a karmic debt. It is all divinely orchestrated. It's down to the very second. It's down to the very left turn that you make, or, what item you decide to pick up and put in your grocery cart. It is that planned. It is that specific. So I guess talking about this, it is pretty impossible to say just by looking at where you are in your life now, whether or not you have good or bad karma, because we all have things that we need to pay off. So let's move the conversation to how we can do that, and there's things that make sense, right? Doing good deeds, literally just doing good deeds, being a good person, being kind to people, paying something forward, doing something good without needing anyone to know that it was you, without seeking attention for it, doing it just because it was out of the good of your heart, helping people you know, helping people you don't know, being selfless. If you are blessed to have money in this lifetime, then tithing, finding some worthy cause to give a portion of money to, and to continue doing that. Not just a one-time thing, but to continue giving over time. Tithing is a really powerful cosmic law, way of giving out something to help others and getting back what you put out tenfold. That's a universal law. That's not just like that here on this planet, it's like that everywhere. And it's a really good way to help pay down your karma. The other piece of this is thinking good thoughts too. It's your actions, but it's also becoming so pure in your intentions and your thoughts that you aren't wishing harm on anyone, that you aren't intending ill towards anyone or towards a thing or towards a group of people or towards a politician or towards an organization or anything, because that counts. I've been told that thoughts amount to half of the karma that actions do. So can you even imagine even thinking just for a moment about, for example, wanting to kill someone, okay? And then you actually get half of the karma that you would for actually doing that just for having the thought. I mean, if that's true, we really need to pay attention to what we're thinking, right? Because this cosmic leisure is ever calculating. It doesn't stop calculating. And you can do a whole bunch of things that are just neutral. You're not incurring positive or negative karma, right? But it's just neutral. But this is about how to pay down your debt, how to pay down your negative karma. And honestly, like I said before, if you're here, then there's probably a significant amount to pay down. But the good news is there isn't just these things, which are really important: being good, being a nice person, not making a mess. Don't make a mess. If you go in and drop an emotional bomb on somebody or your family and make a mess, there's karma for that. That's not good karma. You have to pay for that, okay? So being tidy with your existence. Don't make a mess anywhere you go, because that incurs karma. Okay, so we have these things, right? These human practical things. Be a nice person, pay it forward, don't make a mess. Tithing, right? Being kind to others, doing things selflessly, not needing the recognition, not needing the acknowledgement, right? And then there are also some spiritual tools that can also help to pay down your karmic debt. that I want to talk about here. Now, one of these is a concept that is perhaps more understood in other places in the world. India in particular, this is a known concept. This is an understood concept by many, many Indians, okay? But there are people, there are masters, there are gurus, spiritual teachers on the planet who can mitigate karma, who can help you to mitigate your own karma, okay? This is not a concept we hear about over here in the West, unsurprisingly, because we don't even know about karma most of the time. A lot of folks don't understand that concept fully, as I talked about in the previous episode. There are beings, special, enlightened, or high vibration, high consciousness beings on this planet. Not many, I don't know how many at any given time, but there are beings on the planet who can mitigate your karma, who can actually have a hand in helping to pay down your karmic debt, okay? And these aren't normal people. Not anyone can do this, okay? I can't do this. Most people, to my knowledge, cannot help to pay another human's karmic debt down, okay? But a great teacher, a guru, a spiritual teacher who is really who they say they are, or who they are, right, can do this. I heard a story once from one of my mentors that there was a guru in India, and there was a very, very wealthy man, and he was sick. And he looked for any kind of guru who would take on his karma so that he could live. And he would pay him anything, okay? And nobody wanted to take on his karma because they knew what would happen if they did. They would die because this man's karma was so great. That's why he was so ill and he was going to pass. That was his karma. It was his responsibility. But he had all this money. So on one level, you have the karma to have a lot of money. And that's another thing we'll talk about in a minute. But this man finally found this young guy, this young guru, and this enlightened soul who came from a poor family. And they made a deal. He said, you give my family this much money and I will take on your karma. I'll take that debt for you. And they made the deal and they made it happen. The wealthy sick man gave this man's family all this money, and this young guru dropped dead right there. And the man was healed. But that is one story, that's one instance of what that can look like, to have somebody else, some enlightened being, help to mitigate your karma. That's an extreme example, but that's what that might look like, okay? And I understand that that's a foreign concept. Not many people might understand what that means over here. But that's okay. So I wanted to touch back to really quick before we go on with other spiritual tools that can help to mitigate your karma. I mentioned this wealthy guy in this story, right? So some people come into this lifetime into wealthy situations. They don't have problems with money, or they make a lot of money, right? So there has to be some kind of karma associated with that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are a good person through and through with a clean karmic plate, but it means that you have good karma with money for whatever reason. You have that in your cosmic bank account to either have money or to make money, right? Now, what's really important is what you do with that, okay? Because you can be one of the richest people, one of the billionaires in the world, and have all this money and have this good money karma. But if you're screwing it up in this lifetime, if you're buying things and creating things that are causing negative karma, okay, that might not catch up with you in this lifetime. It very well might. It might not catch up with you in this lifetime, but man, your next lifetime is going to suffer from that. So that's all to say that even if you or someone you know, or even some of these billionaires that we see in the news we talk about, have so much money, you'd think, oh man, they must have great karma. They might have really great karma, or they might have really great money karma for a specific reason or reasons. But depending on what they are doing with that money and how they are using it in this lifetime, wow, that might really turn into something negative in the next lifetime or lifetimes. So I just want to throw that out there, that just because someone's wealthy doesn't mean that they're headed in the right direction necessarily, because you create karma with who you invest in, what your investments are, what you create, who you are giving your money to, what you are putting your money into. All of these things matter. So you can have all that money, but if you're giving it to negative events or people or things that are looking to cause destruction in any way, shape, or form, you're probably not going to have that karma in the next lifetime, or even in this lifetime. That could catch up with you now, okay? So back to tools, more spiritual tools that can help mitigate your karma. I talked about these enlightened beings, these special spiritual teachers that walk the planet at times to help mitigate your karma. There is also this new, relatively new, I guess, in my understanding, spiritual technology that can also help to mitigate your karma. Now, one of these tools is called a karmic mitigation blessing. This is a relatively new tool out of my own spiritual community. And at the beginning of this episode, you heard me talk about the Light of Life tour. You heard me talk about John Douglas and how you can sign up for an event and you get a silent faith remote blessing for that event. You can write in whatever you want help with. Now, another blessing that is available is a karmic mitigation blessing. Now, this is an interesting thing. How could you possibly purchase something, right, and have it take a huge dent out of your karma? That sounds a little weird. It sounds kind of out there. Even me saying it right now, right? Like sometimes this is so my life and it's so normal and so natural that it doesn't even feel or sound weird until I'm talking about it on a podcast, right? But as I'm saying it, I'm like, wow, that must sound really weird to people, that you can go and you can buy a karmic mitigation blessing and it actually takes out a huge chunk of karma, however much is allowed to be taken out. And this helps people. People I know have gotten these to help with all kinds of things. Even if you're just in a rough patch in your life, you're going through a patch of karma and you want it to lighten up a bit, this can help. But also if you're applying for jobs, if you're looking for a house, anything. Even if you're having an illness or undergoing some bad luck or need to get out of a rut or just, feel like stuck in some way, one of these things does wonders. This karmic mitigation blessing. This is a real thing. This is a real spiritual tool. This is spiritual technology. Take it or leave it, because I can see from a different perception, wow, that sounds really kind of out there. That sounds wild. I get it. I really do get it. But for some of you, this is going to resonate. And those are the people that I'm sharing this with, right? There is spiritual technology available now, never before available on this planet, because the consciousness wasn't ready for it. We didn't deserve it. We weren't there as a collective, as humanity, as a society, to be able to deserve these spiritual gifts. And now they are coming in a form, no, not of like a burning bush or the parting of the Red Sea. It has to come in alignment with the times, with where we're at now. So yes, you can go onto a website and purchase a karmic mitigation blessing and literally feel the effects of that thing, because you have made an exchange. You have put in money, which is our currency on this planet at this time, right? You have to have an equal value for something, even though it's not equal. What you get taken away is worth so much more than the money you spend for it. Why? Because these beings are benevolent. They don't actually want you to suffer. They do as much as they can to mitigate your karma. If you are coming with an open heart, if you are coming with humility and actually wanting to pay down your debt, taking responsibility for the things that are befalling you, taking responsibility for the things that have happened in your past lives, the actions that you took, the thoughts that you had, the words that you said. Angels and these higher cosmic beings, these beings that can help mitigate your karma, the Lord of Karma, the Lords of Karma, the Lord of Karma, who was once described as kind of a tall, thin Santa Claus looking guy who's actually really benevolent, big heart, doesn't want you to suffer, but you need to pay down your karma. These beings really appreciate you taking responsibility for your actions, okay? Owning up to what you've done. And of course, we can't remember We can't remember everything that we've done. That's part of the veil. That's part of being on earth. You go through this thing, you forget your past lives. You have no idea that there even are past lives. You maybe think this is the only lifetime somehow that you've ever had. So we just don't see it. We don't see what we've done, who we've been, where we've been, all of it before, right? So that's one reason why we don't understand karma on the planet, is because we can't remember our past lives, of course. All makes sense, but still, when we get to a certain level of consciousness, we start to understand and remember karma as a universal law, not as a punishment. It is simply the law of cause and effect. It's a universal law. It happens here. It happens on every planet, everywhere in the universe and the multiverse, everywhere. And so when you remember this, when you reach a level of consciousness and you want to mitigate down your karma, you want to do good deeds, do things that are going to put positive accounts, put positive, dividends, pay positive dividends in the future, in this lifetime and in other lifetimes. When you reach that level of consciousness, then you can also look to see, what can I do? And one of the things that you can do is to take responsibility for your past. Take responsibility for your present. Every single word that you say, every single look you give people, every thought, every action, you take responsibility for it, because you're the one that pays positively to your karmic cosmic bank account, or adds to the negative ledger in that karmic cosmic bank account. Okay, so taking responsibility and really just owning that. Yes, man, if I tripped and fell in the mud today, I'm responsible for that on some level, even though I can't see what I did to deserve that. I'm responsible for it, right? If I couldn't find what I was looking for, this actually happened to me today. I was guided to go to the dollar store, which is one of the things that gives me the most bliss, right? Truly, I love dollar stores. I don't know why I didn't discover them before. I bought something that I was looking for. I put it in the car. I'm driving back to my house. I get back to my house and I see that the thing had opened up all over the back of my car. And it is toxic stuff. I mean, this stuff is green and smells and it's horrible and toxic, okay? I didn't get upset because on some level, I deserved that. Whatever that was, I had to take responsibility for why ever that happened. Not woe is me, not, oh, why didn't I do this? Blah, blah, blah. Why did this happen to me? No, it happened. And I must have deserved it on some level. And in reality, it's probably a lot less than what I deserve to get, because the lords of karma are benevolent, especially if you're trying. If you are trying, if you are making an effort to be better, to be good, right? They are benevolent and you will get half of what you deserve. So taking responsibility. And the last thing I wanted to share is this beautiful tool that I may have mentioned before on this podcast called Karmic repair. This is a process. What is a process? A process is something that's part of this community, the spiritual community, that you have many different processes. They are invocations. They are invocations. You invoke the angels in this way by pressing play. It's kind of like I used to describe it as an audio meditation because it is audio. It's something that you listen to, varying in length. The shortest one is 3 minutes, which is emotional repair. The longest one is an hour and 6 minutes. It's prismatic aware, but karmic repair is what we're talking about here. This is a 16-minute audio process in which the angels are invoked to literally help you to mitigate your own karma. I have personally received benefits from doing karmic repair. I know many other people who have received benefits from doing karmic repair. And a beautiful thing for all of you listening right now is that, yes, normally you go on the website, you can pay for this, and then you have it for the rest of your life and you can listen as much as you want. However, several months ago, they started doing this thing called global repair every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And I believe the website is globalrepair.com, and I will add that into the description in the show notes of this episode. Globalrepair.com, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and then throughout, the world at whatever time that is in the respective time zones, they play karmic repair for free. You just go to this website 3 times in a row, every single night. Why? We are in quite a spot right now on this planet. As if you're listening to this podcast, or even if you're not, I'm sure you can attest to. We are in a transitional moment. There's a lot going on here. There's more than meets the eye. There's a lot happening on the seen level. There's even more double, triple, quadruple happening on the unseen level. And what can we do about it to help? That is why this globalrepair.com website was set up, so that we could play Karmic Repair 3 times in a row, and anyone in the world could hop on and do that and help not only themselves, but it's called Global Repair for a reason. You're also helping with everything that we are doing on this planet right now. Every transition towards the light, towards a higher vibration, towards raising our levels of consciousness that is happening right now on the planet. Doing Karmic Repair will help not only you, but will help the planet, will help us where we are right now. So let's do a recap. So there are the very human things that one would expect that you can do to help to mitigate your karma, whether that is paying it forward, being a good person, being a kind person, doing kind things for yourself, for others, for strangers, for your family, for people you know, people you don't know. There's tithing if you are able to, finding a good cause, a soup kitchen, something like that, and not just giving once. Give a little bit every month, every week. That is a way to pay down karma. These are all things that you can do kind of more on that human level. Yes, this makes sense, right? You do good things, you pay down your karma, and you get more karmic dividends, positive dividends in the bank for your future. All right? Spiritual technology, yes, there are some spiritual teachers on this planet who can help to mitigate your karma. You might be lucky enough to know one of those people or find one of those people. There's also karmic mitigation blessings, as described before, and karmic repair, which right now you can listen to for free. You don't have to go and buy the process. You can tune in, listen to for free at globalrepair.com. And this is a gift. It is a gift for everyone. So I am going to leave it there for today. I want to thank all the masters and angels who helped me with this episode and bringing through this information. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Bless creation. Well, thank you all for joining me for that episode. I hope that that was instructive and useful. And yes, some of these concepts might be a little out there for you, and that's okay, right? I mean, take it or leave it. All of these episodes, this podcast, everything that comes through, it's take it or leave it. It either resonates or it doesn't. But we have given some tools for you to help to pay down your karma should you choose to try them. The bonus content for today is going to be something really special. We're going to walk through one of the spiritual tools that I mentioned here and also do a little clearing of karma for everyone to the extent that we are able. If you want to take part in that, please go to patreon.com/letsgetmeta and join any tier. Any tier will get you all of the bonus content, and you can listen into all the bonus content from all the previous episodes as well as the most recent full moon clearing that I did this morning. That was extremely powerful in healing your wounds, not just surface wounds, deep wounds. There was a lot of light that came through, a lot of light. So you can also participate in that by becoming a member of this community at any level. So thank you all for listening. We'll catch you next time. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, and Awaken production. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. If you are ready to raise your vibration, you might enjoy our free Let's Get Meta Master Clearing. To receive the Master Clearing or to learn more about the podcast, visit letsgetmeta.com. The show is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. You can access more awakening content, join our membership community, or become one of our angel donors by visiting upandawaken.com. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta. Metaphysical. Let's get meta. Metaphysical. Let's get meta. Metaphysical.